So I had to go on this business trip. So the other day I'm driving to the airport to catch my flight, and I see a sign that says airport left. So I turned around and went home. Hey kids, Adam here. Today we're going to finish out this little 3-part mini series on mixing female vocals. I will put a card to the previous video where I mixed with all my plugins. I use just my standard vocal chain. I use SSL channel, a couple of Reaper plugins, a couple of TUKAN plugins, and a couple other ones, including I think a tape machine from IK Multimedia with the T-Rex plugins. Today we're going to do all TUKAN plugins. Now I'll put another card up here to my original video where I introduced the TUKAN plugins. John from TUKAN Studios has been great. He's been putting all these great plugins out for completely free. Now they're for Reaper only. If you're using another DAW you happen to find my channel, I'm sorry. You should go over to Reaper anyway. It's cheap, easy. Maybe that's something else. It's inexpensive, low on resources, and very powerful, very customizable, and isn't as expensive as the industry standard, so to speak. Anyway, let's head over to Reaper, and I will show you what I'm doing with all these TUKAN plugins and these female vocals. All right, here we are on Reaper. Let's address this thing first. This is a cheesy song. I admit it. The Spike, my drummer, and his wife admit it. It was kind of a fun little thing they wanted to do for a celebration for the 10-year passing of their master. His name is Ben Lowe. He is basically for this practice like the Bruce Lee of Tai Chi. But it was a cool thing they did. I was happy to help out. The lyrics are cheesy, but they make sense. The song is cheesy, but it makes sense. So now that we've kind of addressed that, let's move on. So if you remember what the original sound like, now I've done a couple changes here. I've taken a couple things out, but to make a better direct comparison, these are the original plugins that I did from the last video. These are all mine. I'm using SSL channel, a couple TUKANs, and some Reaper, and also a tape machine by IK Multimedia. Here's what this sounds like. And now here's what all the TUKAN plugins sound like. These are just TUKAN, no Reaper, no third party, all free. Let me solo these out, and we'll go back and forth between just the two of them. Here are the originals. I'll put something on the screen to let you know which ones are which.
If you believe in the power of Tai Chi, Ben will blow your mind. And if you need to believe in something, turn and step behind. If you live a life of tension, Cloud Hands clears the way.
That sounds pretty good to me. Let's dive in and see what I did here. On the left here are the original track. On the right here is the track that I did with all TUKAN plugins. What I essentially tried to do was copy the sound because I really like the sound that I got out of the first video. So I wanted to copy them with TUKAN plugins. So first thing I did was re-EQ. I did a high pass filter at 100 hertz, and I did a low mid cut at just shy of 300. I used the TUKAN EQ 1.1, which I put a high pass filter at 100, and I did this low bump or low cut, and I just kind of eyeballed it. There's no numbers on these things, which it's really good for mixing. I do agree with mixing with your ears and not your eyes. In fact, I'll put a card up here for that video. I did a long time ago, coming on almost 2 years here. But for comparing, I'd really like the numbers here, but that's okay. Don't worry about that. The next thing I did, and this is going to be really interesting, the SSL native, I used the EQ and the dynamics. I did not use the gate, no need to. I didn't know what to do for TUKAN, so I started poking around, and TUKAN has the sum channel. What does this look like to you? I see blue knobs, I see green knobs, I see red knobs. To me, that looks like an SSL. This is desk number 3. I'm not using the sum thing, which is kind of a cool analog desk simulator. I'm just using this as a channel strip on this one channel. What here's the high pass filter was at 211.9. I just kind of went with my ears. So here I put it at 212 because that's, just the same thing. And then for each of the bands here, now John went into a lot of detail on his EQ desk and why this is only listed as 3.83 kilohertz for the frequency, and why the other desks go up to 20K. He did an analysis and showed that this is really almost the same thing. I did have to bump this all the way up to 15 because it's not going to sound exactly like an SSL. The next band, I put it at 4K. I put it at 4K here. Instead of 4 dB, I put this up a little bit further, about double to 8 dB. Next band was 1.42K. I did 1.46 just because I did. This is 4 dB. This was a little bit over. It was 4.9 dB. And then the low band was pretty much the same thing. It said like 458 here. I did 459, negative 6.4, negative 6.4. I got the EQs to sound really close. I just had to push a little bit further on the EQ. I think it was because on the SSL native, I was able to push the input into the plugin and then drop the output a little bit. I think that adds a little bit more for the EQ side than just having it here, where I'm not pushing this at all because there's no input and output. And then for compressor, I did the same thing, 4:1 ratio. I put the threshold so it's ticking, just the first couple 1 or 2 dB of gain reduction here, because I really just want to get the peaks. Added a little bit of makeup gain, which kind of simulates the input and the output. I thought they sounded really close. And the next two plugins are really easy because I'm using the de-esser from TUKAN. I just left the same settings, and I'm using the NC76B, which is a 1176 plugin. I use the same settings, didn't change them at all between the two. The next one, I use the tape machine from IK Multimedia, the tape machine 440, and I use a tape recorder from TUKAN. I actually left all the defaults on the TUKAN. It sounded pretty good. I didn't touch it. I didn't mess with it. And then finally, they're a limiter. I use relimit on this, set the ceiling and the threshold both at -6 just to kind of squash and contain those vocals. And I did basically the same thing here with the limiter too. There's no numbers in here again, so I was just able to get this right around. And you can see after playing it was at 5.94, so I got them pretty close. Didn't mess with anything else. Those were the plugins on the vocals, and that's how I got the vocals. The other thing that I do have a long delay in here. Now, you remember from the first video, I used TUKAN's delay machine, so I already have TUKAN plugins on here. Didn't change anything on this, left this the same. The reverb, I was using the SSL Flex Verb, which is a very, very complex and convoluted and powerful reverb. I used the Lexicon. I kind of just messed around and I got a sound that sounded very similar to what I was using before. And then after that, I was using a re-EQ with a high pass and a low pass. I just brought in this JS SC filter. I set the high pass and low pass the same frequencies I had in re-EQ. And there we have it. Everything sounds the same. I'm really, really, really impressed with these plugins. And I've said it before, and I've worked with them before on here. These are 100% free. Again, if you don't know about the TUKAN plugins, I will put a link in the description on where to get them. There is a forum on the Reaper forums where all of his information is on. He does videos on every single update. He's updating these plugins all the time. Maybe look to have yours truly featured in one of these videos in the future for a future plugin. We're still working on that, still working out the details. So if you like this video, please leave me a comment below, hit the thumbs up, consider subscribing if you haven't, hit the little bell thingy because I can annoy you then every time I send a video. It sends you a little notification. You get really annoyed. Well, maybe that's not a good thing, but I would appreciate it. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I'm just over 820 at this point. I think we can do it. Until next time, have yourselves an amazing week or two, depending on how things go. See ya. Okay, let's just get the 100-pound, 800-pound gorilla. 100-pound gorilla would probably be really small. 800-pound gorilla. Oh.